We've been saying this for years. We can't hire them, so we got to make them, right? We got to train our own. We bring them in. We got to grow our own technicians. So every year we go to the vocational schools. Like I said, I have my manager either on the advisory boards or myself on the board, and we try to stay entrenched in those technical schools so we can, know which kids that we want to go after when they come out. Not that we always get all the number ones or number twos, but at least we know what we're investing in somewhat when we bring them out, because as again, we said, they have to grow up first, right? So when we bring them out, we invest, put them in the apprenticeship program. We pay for all their training 100%.
I met today's guest through a prior guest. You may have heard me interview Aaron over at XOI and the cool technology that they're doing in the HVAC and mechanical space. He actually introduced me to today's guest, and it's not because I was looking for more information about the technology, but it was to understand how they're using technology to better recruit today's modern workforce. We all know that the labor shortage is an issue. We all know that it's difficult getting people to want to show up for work and get the work done. And Wayne Gibson over at RIDDLEBERGER Brothers is working with his team to put together a plan to use modern technology to attract the modern workforce. We dig into that today. We talk about some of the things that are working for them and even give you some tactics that you can go apply right away. Let's dig into today's show. Wayne, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Ryan, for having me. Looking forward to it.
This is a little different for me, to be honest. We talked a little bit about this pre-show. I am really excited to learn more about what you're doing over at RIDDLEBERGER Brothers. We got connected through someone else who's been on the podcast over at XOI. You guys are using their tool to help you with recruiting. And I was talking to Aaron. I said, hey, I want to meet someone over there. I want to learn how they're using a tool like XOI to do recruiting and training and everything else. So that's why we're here today. And I want to learn from you. And I know that our listeners want to learn because you are making it happen.
Well, thanks. I don't know that we're making it all happen. We're making little strides here and there, but Aaron and his team are great to work with. And we're definitely glad to be a partner with them.
You are not a small company by any stretch of the imagination. How many employees do you have over there at RIDDLEBERGER Brothers?
We're at about 350 employees.
350. So, you guys are on the larger side for one company. I know there's some bigger ones out there, but you guys are doing something right to be able to get there.
We hope to be. And of the service group, we're about 130 of that 350. We're a full mechanical, electrical, plumbing contractor.
So you've got a lot of technicians. You've got a lot of training. Technology is changing all the time. So I imagine you got to keep people up to speed on everything. But there's a lot of stuff out there that you have to keep track of and a lot of stuff you have to train people on. And you're also looking at bringing in people that are new to the industry, new to the trades. And so you're helping with that too. But before we jump into what you're doing over there at RIDDLEBERGER, let's talk about this. I want to know, what are your thoughts? Why do you think we're in this situation that we're in where it seems like nobody can find a technician and nobody wants to work anymore and all the other stuff that we say? Give me just a little bit of background. What's your perspective? What have you seen? Why do you think we're where we're at?
Right. I've been in the trade going on 39 years now. And over each year, you could just see it declining, right? But we skipped a whole generation of people getting into the trades, because you take all of the high schools were pushing college, and we just missed a generation, because trades were, back when I was in school for your high school vocational training, it was like we only send kids there for technical training because they can't make it in high school, which is a myth. It's so not true, right? There's so many talented people out there that would be great at a trade, but they were pushed to go another direction. And you would not believe how many of those people we get applications from now who have finished a 4-year degree or have gotten 3 years through it and decided, hey, I want to do something different. So you just we just missed a whole generation. And we're paying for it now. I mean, we really are. We're paying for it. I'm not the only company looking for technicians. Every one of my competition are looking for techs, and all across the country. It's everywhere.
I graduated high school almost 30 years ago. And I remember at that time, it was college. And if that didn't work, plan B, your backup plan. I mean, this was 25 years ago. Your backup plan could be the trades. You could go do something with your hands. You could go build something. You could help support the infrastructure that this country runs on. That's the plan B, but go to college first. I remember people telling me, like, your education is the one thing no one can take from you. And I'm like, well, that's true.
And you said that's 25 years ago.
Yeah.
So think about that.
Yeah.
I mean, look at this 25 years later. Here we are talking about how do we get people back in the trades.
Yeah.
there's that whole generation. It goes down to, we even have to get with the educators to let them know that the trades are really good. I mean, it's not just a service technician. You can be an estimator. You can be a coordinator. You can work in accounting. You can be a project manager.
You can become an entrepreneur.
You become an entrepreneur and start your own business. Absolutely.
Yeah. So let's talk about that for a second. I don't think that any one company is going to solve this problem.
No.
I don't think there's not a silver bullet for how we get people excited about joining the trades again. What are some of the things that you're seeing the industry either is doing and needs to continue or needs to start doing? Because it's going to take a collective effort to get people excited. I mean, that's my honest opinion. What are some of your thoughts on that?
You just got to start getting this out in front of the kids at a younger age. I mean, we even started by visiting in grade school. And really, are they going to remember you by the time you get to high school? No, but it's not only just getting in front of the kids, but you got to get in front of the parents. So not only do you have to have one of the kids want to join the mechanical trades, but you got to get it into the parents. We actually had a group, a local county high school. We had a group of the principals come through and do a tour of our facility because we're trying to get with the principals and guidance counselors to say, look, this is what all we do. This is what all mechanical contractor does. And it's amazing how they were wowed about all the different positions in a mechanical contracting company. And I'm like, come on, we've just got to get over that. Got to go to college. We just got to get over that. With kids coming out with the depth they come out with now, it just blows me away.
Yeah.
And then we have a full-time recruiter and we get applications that come in and they have a degree that someone paid for. And they're not used.
It's interesting. You said something that goes right in line with what my philosophy is for helping solve this problem is these teachers, they didn't know, these educators didn't know all the opportunity. I think that the industry, they owe it to themselves to start thinking of this recruiting problem as a marketing issue.
Yes.
It's not an HR issue. It's a marketing issue. The messaging has been wrong for decades. We've let other industries control the message for us. Oh, don't go do that. That's your plan B. Even worse, and I see this happen inside the industry, we start knocking each other, right? We diss on each other, which then brings the industry down. There's a company in the city I used to live in. Their tagline was, we're the smell good plumber. Like, I get that might be fun for you,
Right.
But you just knocked the entire industry.
Exactly.
You just told every parent and every child in high school thinking about what they want to do with their career that you're going to stink if you go into this profession.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is, the more I learn about the profession in the industry, that is such a small part of plumbing. Like, it is just such a fraction of it. But that's what we go on because it's good marketing for the one company doing it. But we just knocked the whole industry. We talk about all the on time or it's free, implying that everybody in the industry is late. Like we have a marketing problem.
And not everybody in the industry late either. I don't care what business you're in. You're going to get the people that just don't want to work. You just got to really, what we look at when we go after these kids is, look, we're bringing them in here. We got to teach them how to work. A lot of them didn't work before. Not only are we teaching them a trade, we have to teach them how to work, which is hard for some of my frontline managers to see that we have to teach these kids how to work. They're here 6 months and like, that kid ain't working either. Come on, guys. You were 18 at one time, right? You got to give the guys or gals a chance to mature, give them some time in the field. And not all of them will work, but some you just have to give that chance, let them mature, learn the trade, learn how to work, get rid of their smartphones, and say it's time to go to work. So is it easy? No. That's why we're talking today, right? It's not easy to fill that gap, but we just got to stay involved in the local technical schools, training centers. Actually, all of my frontline managers, their action plan every year is to be involved at a vocational school or a high school. I want them either on the advisory board or I want them on the board of the school. So I'm proud to say that 4 out of my 6 are on an advisory board or board, and I am myself. It's just a way we can get back to the industry.
That's incredible. Well, and influence it too.
Oh, and influence it. I mean, if you got guys on the advisory board, you're helping with the curriculum or you're influencing it. Plus, you're out in front of the kids.
Yeah.
So you're seeing those kids every day. You're good friends with the instructors. So hopefully, hey, when these kids graduate, who's number 1, who's number 2?
Of course.
Who do you recommend for us? So you use that to your advantage as well. But it helps us get back to the community and try to just broaden the horizons for the pool of people.
Yeah. I think that's so great what you're doing with your leaders and getting them involved in the community, getting them involved in making this change in the industry and being patient with the younger generation. People make fun of the millennials. Now we're making fun of the Gen Z, right? All of us boomers and Gen Xers are like, oh, they don't want to know what they want to do when they grow up. They don't, you know what? When we were 20, if you were, we were switching jobs every 2 years. We were not coming into work. We were like, I got more important things to do.
Yeah.
But then we grow up, we start family, realize we have responsibilities. And guess what? Millennials are doing it now.
Yeah.
I mean, they're in their 40s. And I hear boomers all the time still ripping on the millennials. I'm like, you need to stop ripping on the millennials because they're in their 40s now. They got kids getting ready for college. Like, you need to understand that. But I think what we do is we forget what we went through when we were in our 20s and our late teens and figuring out what we wanted to do with our lives. And we just assume that everybody's got it figured out. We had a client one time that owned a string of auto mechanic shops. And he says, you know what fixed it for me with the millennials? He goes, when I woke up one morning, I realized that it's my job as their employer to finish raising them.
And you said you hit a spot on. When I was 17, right fresh out of high school, and went to work for a local company. And thank goodness they were patient with me because I was a 17, 18-year-old, 19, 20. I was a kid. Didn't make the best decisions all the time, come in late or something like that. So I had to remind my managers that, hey, you were 18 one time. You were 19 one time, and it's not all of them. And that's kind of what you said. We got to help them grow and help them grow up. So you got to be patient with them and invest in them.
Yeah. So I love this. So if we break apart recruiting from my perspective, there's really a couple of different ways to recruit. You read about it in my book that just came out, but you guys have really taken what I call the farming method to heart, which is you take brand new people to the industry, people that have no idea what you do as a mechanical contractor. And not only do you teach them the work skills, the life skills, the technical skills, like you're investing in the whole person over there at RIDDLEBERGER. Talk to me a little bit about what you guys are doing, what's working for you. And one of the things that I know our listeners love is what lessons have you learned in this process? Like what things have you done that didn't work out so well? Wayne, if you've got some things to share, I'd love to hear it.
Yeah, and what we've done.
Stop turning away work, burning out your team, and working so hard. Learn about the proven process that businesses everywhere are using to save time, save money, and hire all the people they need. We'll train your team to implement and run this process in-house so you can grow as fast as you want. Book a call with our team at corematters.com.
We've been saying this for years. We can't hire them, so we got to make them, right? We got to train our own. We bring them in. We got to grow our own technicians. So every year we go to the vocational schools. Like I said, I have my managers either on the advisory boards or myself or on the board. And we try to stay entrenched in those technical schools so we can, know which kids that we want to go after when they come out. Not that we always get all the number ones or number twos, but at least we know what we're investing in somewhat when we bring them out. Because as again, we said, they have to grow up first, right? So when we bring them out, we invest, put them in the apprenticeship program. We pay for all their training 100%. So they don't have to pay for anything. We pay for them to get their licenses if it's set for the license. And then we put them on an individual development plan from Jump Street when they get there. So it's got strengths and weaknesses for each of our employees. And my managers have to review them. Early on, they're reviewing them about every quarter, right? Once they've been here for a while, they're probably reviewing that individual development plan probably in mid-year, okay? Because we do annual reviews and we do annual pay increases. Plus, we'll do the mid-years. When we're doing the IDPs, we may bring guys, or gals, if they're progressing, their pay may raise once, twice, 3 times a year, right? As they're going through that development plan. And it helps the tech get to know their boss, and their boss really get to know their tech better because you're sharing strengths and weaknesses. Because as we know, everybody's an A-player in their own mind.
In their own mind.
And I shouldn't say everybody, but you have some that are. And it can be humbling sometimes. It's like, we see this as your weakness. So we want you to go to this training, or we want you to attend this class. And so it's investing in your people, really is. And we're not going to pick up any ground, as you talked about, the hole we're in now. If we don't invest in our people, we'll never catch up.
Yeah, I love that. So you said something I want to dig into. So you guys have an apprenticeship program over there, which I love. It's great. But you mentioned something that I know there were some people listening going, ooh, you pay for 100% of their training.
100%.
100%. So you are financially investing in these kids, if you will. Some are probably people converting from other careers, but these kids, you're investing 100% in their education and their training to get them up to speed. And it's scary. How is that working out for you?
I mean, it can be. We've had some, as competitive as out there now, we've had some that we've put through all the way up to the journeyman level, which you're talking of 4 years of classes that have left. Yeah, that's a chance you take. But if I can stay at 75%, I'm great, because I don't know how else we're going to get them.
Yeah.
It's going to cost me more than that to go steal one from my competitor. But, all the competitors, everybody's trying to steal people.
So you're saying that fewer leave.
Absolutely.
When you do this.
Fewer will leave. When you invest, the more you invest in them, the more they'll stay. And we have people come to us because some of our guys have said, hey, they put me through all this factory training. They paid for your apprenticeship program. We pay the state for them to get their application for their license.
Wow.
That's $150. We write the check. They just fill the application out.
You're literally putting your money where your mouth is and saying, we need to invest in the next generation.
Absolutely.
We need to not ignore this generation like the last one got ignored. And you're literally putting your money where your mouth is and saying, no, we're going to pay for this for all these. So too bad my audience isn't a whole bunch of people thinking about what they want to do with their life. But for those of you that did pick this up, I think this would be a great episode to share with the people that you know. So for all those listeners out there thinking, hey, you know what? My buddy needs to hear this. Definitely do that, because this shortage is not going away. The shortage is not going away.
It's not. And we have to think outside the box. Before, we needed somebody that had this great technical aptitude, or they had to work in the HVAC field. Back in the day, you didn't even hire an electrician because he wasn't an HVAC guy. Right now, you got to keep your eyes open. I'll take the best electrician. We're commercial industrial. I'll take the best residential mechanic. I'll bring them over and I'll train them up to that next level. I mean, that's how we have to grow them. An automotive mechanic. We've got a guy that was an automotive mechanic and decided he wanted to do something different. We've had people in factories that, hey, I got to get out of this, right? I got to get out of it. If you come over and apply yourself, we'll put you to the training. We'll pay for your training to get you through the apprenticeship program. And we do a lot, Brian. We spend a lot of money training in-house, not just with the apprenticeship program, but we send people off to factory classes. We're part of Comfort Systems USA, so we do a lot of specific training with the manufacturers, where I'll bring the manufacturer here at RIDDLEBERGER Brothers, and we can put 20 people through that class instead of me paying $10,000 to send 2 out to Wisconsin or something. So you have to invest. I mean, we spend about $500,000 a year in training alone. It's an investment that we have to make. If we don't make it, we're not going to keep growing. We're going to be RIDDLEBERGER at 60 employees instead of 120, right? In service. So you've got to invest back in the people, invest back in the community.
Talk to me a little bit more about these individual development plans that you do. You said everybody gets one. And one of the things you said that really just spoke to me was it's an opportunity for them to get to know their manager and vice versa. Like they get to build a relationship, which is one of the things that I think is missing from the industry in general, is that we started treating people like cogs in a machine and we forgot that they're people and
right.
They need those relationships. But I'd love to know a little bit more about the technical side, as much as you're willing to share on that individual development plan. How does it work? How do you make the decisions on who does what? And as much as you're able to share, I'd love to know a little bit more about that.
It's really more of getting to know your employee. And it was rough on my managers first when we came up with the individual development plan, but we said, look, with this generation, it's not like when you and I were in the field. We just went out there, we worked hard, we got paid, and we did everything. But it's different now that we have to grow, as I've always said. So the individual development plan, some was tough for some of my managers because it's a soft skill. It's getting to know, it's a little more touchy-feely. And there's a lot of people in my generation that are not touchy-feely. They think you tell them to do A and they need to do A by the end of the day. But it's not like that, as much anymore. These guys learn. So we basically put the strengths, we have the technician put his strengths, what he thinks his weaknesses are, correct? Then the manager reviews that. And there may be some times it's saying, you think you're an A guy on the smaller chillers, but really you're probably more like a C. Then we kind of come to a happy medium that says, hey, we need to send you to this type of training, or we need to give you more electrical training. We need to give you more training on the refrigerant cycle. Or maybe we need to give you more soft skills training. Maybe it's not just the technical side of it. Maybe it's dealing with customers. And that's where XOI has come in for us, is some of the guys can take pictures and make little notes now, and they don't have to be an author to write something out. Because some people, I wasn't good when I was in the field with filling out a work order.
Yeah.
I would put replace motor. But now with the tools we have with XOI, we can picture speaks 1,000 words, right? So during the IDP process, it's really talking to them about the XOI because it's a new technology. You know how people are with new technologies and starting something new. AI is new and people are scared to death of it, but we're going to be standstill if we don't accept these new technologies. We're going to get left behind. So the people that start embracing these new technologies are going to be in front of the rest of the competitors. We're going to be leaps and bounds ahead of them. So that's discussed during the ITB of why the importance of using a different software, why we're doing something different. And it can be a pay raise at that. Maybe this guy is actually an A player and we thought he was a C, right? So it's not only just the manager judging that guy, it's actually the people in the field he worked with and probably his frontline field supervisor. So we try to be as fair as we can. Are we always? No, there's always little hiccups, but maybe dealing with people there are. But for us, we've really focused on that over the last 2 years. We've had them, right, forever. But as the talent gap kept getting tighter and tighter, we kind of made it a priority to use those to understand and put the picture out here that says, hey, you could make X number of dollars in 2 years. If you can do this is what we got to work on to get you there. So you have to put that development plan out there, and it gives the guy or gal something to look forward to instead of just saying, I need $500. Well, why do you need $500 now?
Yeah.
Right. Let's help with retention. Let's help with keeping guys. It's really just being open to your employees. Right. And building a good culture. And I think that's the key to keeping the employees is you got to have a good culture. Let them know that you care about them. Yeah. There's days we got to get in that trench of work, but we care about you and we want you to grow as well.
Yeah, no. And one of the things that I'm hearing in this is that you're giving your field leaders as well as the new employees a lot of autonomy in how they build this individual development plans. I don't want to use the word customized, but it is very much for that individual and what they need. So it's not the development plan and it just happens to be for individuals. It is really an individualized plan between the employee and their supervisor.
Yeah.
And what that employee needs and what that supervisor needs from that employee. We talk about something very similar in my book called the GAP, which is the Growth Accelerator Plan or program. And really is where they are and where they need to be. And how do you bridge that gap? Like, what's that plan to overcome that? And it's a 3-year program, just very much like you said. So it's really like, hey, we're doing this for the long term. Because I think that's another thing that's missing in this industry is that a lot of people go, oh, there's seasonality. When the employer doesn't like you, they're just going to fire you. They're going to replace you with someone else. There's not been this idea that there is longevity, that there is opportunity to grow with an organization. And it sounds like RIDDLEBERGER Brothers, you guys are squashing that a little bit, especially with a 4-year apprenticeship program and 75% of your people finishing that and sticking it out with you. And it's just so many cool things that you're doing. And none of them seem like rocket science to me. It just seems like being intentional and just saying, hey, we're going to do this and we're going to invest in our people. Is that fair?
And that's what you have to. Yeah, that is very fair. And if you're going to grow and you're going to sustain in the market we're in, you have to invest in your people, bottom line, or they'll go somewhere else. I mean, that's where we're at. They'll go somewhere else and they can't. I mean, every one of my guys and gals here today, recruiters are not going to, they're calling, they're texting. So you really have to change the way you're going to market to take care of your people nowadays to keep them and to continue to grow and to attract them. And then guess what? The ones you take care of, they're going to tell their buddy that's either in the trade or thinking about getting in the trade, hey, you ought to come over to RIDDLEBERGER. They pay for your training. It's a pretty good place to work. So it works both ways. It hopefully works for retention and, hiring.
I love it. I think that's a great place to wrap up. Bottom line, invest in your people.
Bottom line, invest in your people.
I mean, that really is what it comes down to.
It is. I've been in the business for 39 years, and I've never paid for a training class, whether it's business, whether it's leadership, whether it's sales. I can say that I've never had to pay for the training classes. Wow. I've been fortunate to be at RIDDLEBERGER 24 years. They paid for a lot of development classes with me, and the company I was with before, they would send us to schools, and it didn't cost me anything. And that's the key that you have to understand. With wanting to get into the trades, if you apply yourself, you can make it. You can make a good living doing it.
I love it. Wayne, this has been great. I love hearing that you're making it happen. You're making a difference. You're growing the company. You're bringing some life back into the new generation of the workforce. and showing them the opportunities are here without getting into a lot of college debt, without having to figure out what they want to do when they grow up, and not giving them a skill set that is going to basically create an amazing career for them. I know there's people listening right now thinking, you know what? Wayne sounds like an awesome guy. Like he's got it figured out. I'd love to be able to connect with Wayne, learn more. I'm sure there's ways to find you online, but how do you want people to get a hold of you if they would love to just connect, maybe pick your brain a little bit more, or even share some strategies together?
Oh, I'd love to hear if some other company or people out there are doing things. I'd love to hear what they're doing to make us better. But I'm on LinkedIn, or you can reach me at Gibson W. That's GIBSONW at RBIVA.com. That'd probably be the best way to get a hold of me, or message me on LinkedIn. And also check us out on our website at www.rbiva.com.
And we'll make sure all of those links, the email address, everything are in the show notes. So if you are like so many people right now behind the windshield listening to this, you don't have the computer in front of you, make sure that when you get back to the office that you pull that up, and all of those links and everything will be there. Wayne, thank you so much for being a guest, and quick shout out to XOI and Aaron for connecting us.
Absolutely.
If you don't know what XOI is and you're in the HVAC mechanical space, you have to go check them out, because that technology, so much opportunity there. So
it's a game changer, and I always say it's another tool in our toolbox.
Yeah, and it's a great one too. Wayne, thank you so much for being my guest today. I've really enjoyed today's episode.
Ryan, thanks for having me. I've really enjoyed it.